I was in a mastermind today, and there was a gentleman who made a deal worth $18 million. And while that could make me feel really bad about myself, it actually didn't. And we're going to talk about that today.
You have to get into rooms with people who maybe sometimes you feel small around.
Next Level Nation today for episode number 2273. Being behind isn't a bad thing. I am in Toronto still. I am tired AF. If you're watching this on YouTube, I look underslept and malnourished, and I am both. But we are pushing through. So today was the last day of the mastermind, and this happened yesterday. One of the guys, super inspiring dude. I'm going to keep it as anonymous as possible because I don't know if it's public information yet, so I'm going to keep it anonymous. But just an inspiring, next level human being. At one point, his phone goes off and he gets up and walks out of the room. And I didn't really think anything of it because most of these people are entrepreneurs or business owners and they have a lot of responsibilities. And he came back in and I think somebody said, "Hey, everything okay?" And he said, I got that deal that I've been talking about. And then I think Evan announced that he's like, this dude just closed an $18 million deal. And everybody clapped for him, and it was awesome.
It's a big W.
It's a big W. And I literally, so I went up to him after. Actually, he sat with me at lunch. And I was like, dude, amazing. Congrats. Like, that's fire. Amazing. And he was a really nice dude. When I got back last night, I messaged Matt. Because Matt, he messaged me like a month ago. I still haven't got back to him. I'm out here jeffing hard. And I said, dude, when you go to stuff like this, it's always so valuable because you see stuff like that. And number one, you know it's real. Number two, you know it's possible. And number three, that's what you want to make normal. Like we used to say that, hashtag make this normal, hashtag make this normal. I think if you're somebody who roots for other people, regardless of yourself, it's a positive. If you're somebody who has a fairly high level of self-belief, it's a positive. If your initial reaction is this person is bad because this makes me feel bad, then you're not going to be able to take the positives out of that situation. So I think that's a really cool potential for a conversation because then the conversation is, well, how do you get around people way ahead of you that aren't toxic, that are doing good in the world and inspire you, I think is a good jumping off point.
So I've talked in the past about different mentors, and you and I have interviewed, brother, Olympic gold medalists, all kinds of people that are world-class, millionaires, several, one billionaire. And I've had mentors and coaches all through my early days. I'm sounding very old these days. I'm 37, and in my 20s, it was just mentors and coaches galore, dozens. And when I first got to iRobot, for example, there was a lot of rooms, and I remember I got out of this meeting, I told you this before, and I remember thinking, no 22-year-old has ever been in a meeting like that. Like, I'm so lucky to be here. That was like legit. I mean, they were talking hundreds of $1 million worth of deals and stuff like that. And when you're around it, it's definitely, for me, I was always excited. So let me flip the script here. For someone who didn't have a ton of mentors and coaches and wasn't really mentor focused, because I was overly mentor focused in hindsight. I have always sought for role models and mentors and coaches and ask questions and email, hey, should I do this school or this school, that? And you weren't really as mentor focused.
No, definitely not.
So as someone who wasn't mentor focused, and you also have said in the past, you needed to see it to believe it. When you get in a room like this and you see it, what does it change in you?
It's easy to go to now more than ever, I look at the time. Like, I'm most likely one of the youngest. I think there were a couple people that are close to my age, if not maybe a little bit younger. But a lot of the most successful people in the room are just years and years older, and they've been doing this for a long, long, long time. So now it's based on our trajectory, when we get to that point, there's no reason we can't be doing that. That's good. That feels really good. That was not my natural.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Yeah, factoring in age because of the compound effect.
I never used to.
Yeah.
And I understand why, because you compare where you are today to where somebody else is now, and it's really hard to imagine yourself when you get to their point. Like that position in life, it's so hard to extrapolate that out. You know, if there's somebody there, one of the people there is probably 70, and he's a keynote speaker, and he's all over the world speaking, and it's like, I mean, that's 33 years.
34 for you.
My 36, 34 years. That's almost my entire, I have like my entire life to get to that point. And I don't know, did I start this, right?
But here's the other thing, Kevin, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's not like you started out of the womb dialed in. So it's not just 34 years, it's 34 dialed in years.
Well, that's what I mean is,
yeah,
if this person's had their YouTube channel and their podcast and this point of their business for a year, by the time I get there, I will have had it for 30, 40 years.
Nice.
So like, what does that mean?
Love it.
I can't even.
It's my favorite. I love it.
That's a big one. That's a really big one. And then...
Selfish question.
Yeah.
Is it very obvious in hindsight this is how I used to think?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. Is there any insights in that besides the selfish part of the question?
What specific?
Just so everyone knows, I haven't really talked to Kev much since being at this. Like, this is kind of real time.
Yes, yeah. I've been running. It's been mayhem. Well, to what context?
I don't know. Is there anything... Yeah, you didn't used to think this way, and now you do. So, like... Because Kevin and I would interview people that were way more successful than us. And he would be a lot more starstruck than me. And I'm not making that wrong. I think that's great. But I remember telling you behind the scenes, like, brother, some of those people we're actually ahead of. And what I meant by that is the compound effect. Like, from 0 to 10, you're just figuring it out, you're a kid. From 10 to 20, you're supposed to learn and be educated. From 20 to 30, you're supposed to just make massive pain and failure and suffering. 30 to 40, you're supposed to get a good stride. 40 to 50, you're supposed to fucking kill it. 50, 60, 70, legacy. Just unbelievable body of work. Like, Steven Spielberg, for example. The dude's like, what, 75? Right? So the world knows his name, but there are certain people who... I just hope that everyone thinks of their career, and this is a podcast about personal development and success, primarily success. Success is a long game. There is no overnight success unless it's fake on the internet. And even then, it's usually generational wealth from decades and decades and decades, sometimes generations, hence the term generational wealth. But I think that when you zoom out on the macro, and you get out of the micro of the now, you can see how clear, like, your career, that's what I would say. You're now thinking as a career instead of the now.
Yeah. And in a way, my career has just started, which is weird to think of. You know, it's weird to think, because that's always the thing is like, you know, for lack of better phrasing in rooms like that, my claim to fame is, yeah, we have a podcast that has, you know, a top 100 podcast that has 2,200 whatever episodes. And then people say, well, how long have you been doing it? Like 2017. They're like, wow, that's a long time. It's like, yeah, and no at the same time. My natural thought was...
Well, Evan started his YouTube channel in 2009.
Yeah, he's been doing it in a long time.
Yeah, that's way longer than us. That's
Twice
what, 8 years longer? Yeah.
Twice as long.
Twice as long. Yeah.
But I didn't start there. I used to start with, that's a really long time. Now it's, I mean, it is. It's a long time, but...
Yeah, time perspective. Game changer.
How
would you talk to you about this? Real quick, before Kev answers that question, we have a book club. I've been doing it, speaking of time perspective, for 5 years. And we are currently reading Rationality, which talks about the math modalities of thinking and talks about how to think like this. Steven Pinker, I don't necessarily love it because of the author. I don't dislike the author, but the concepts in this book, we're talking game theory tomorrow. It's every Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an hour long, totally private, and we discuss each chapter, one chapter at a time. We're doing game theory tomorrow. I can't freaking wait, because game theory is all about time perspective and how to design your life to figure out what's most important to you and figure out what you prioritize. So the link to register will be in the show notes. It's totally free, and I hope to see you there.
This is the other interesting thing. And again, let's try to make this land from a non-entrepreneurial space. Most people who are really successful are looking for people to help them be more successful.
Yeah.
So they're willing to invest in themselves very quickly. So like I was sitting next to someone and they were asking me questions. And the reason I came to Toronto in the first place is because one of my clients invited me. And he was talking me up and saying all these nice things, which I'm super grateful for. And this person came up to me and said, "We have to work with you." It's like, okay, cool. And they're like, "Can you just put together
business?
Open for business. Can you just put together something and we'll have a call about it?" It's like, yeah, sure. If that's just different.
Kev calls me last night. You won't believe where I am. I said, "That's how every
whiskey deep."
Yeah, that's how every great conversation starts. You and me yesterday, 6:15 p.m. And I just got off the masterclass. Shout out to everyone who came, by the way. Thank you. It was awesome.
I messaged Amy and said, "Hey, are you guys off the masterclass?"
Nice.
Because I need to call Alan.
Nice. And he's like, "You won't believe where I am." I said, "That's how every great conversation starts." He says, "I'm at a Christmas party drinking whiskey and we got an opportunity." It was awesome.
It was awesome. But I think that's the thing is, I understand, like I said this too. I said this to Matt. I said, I understand why people network. I understand why people go to networking events. I understand. It makes sense because you're hanging out with people that you aspire to be more like, maybe not always from a character perspective. In this room, everybody's awesome. Evan always attracts really awesome people.
Nice.
Maybe that's not the case in every room, right? Obviously, you and I have been to networking things that were just terrible and, but I think it paints a picture of what is possible for you. There's a difference between possible and realistic, but what's possible for you?
Nice. Your point of this episode, because I know we got to jump in a second here. Kev said,
we're doing short ones, squad. The next 3 episodes are going to be a little short. It's 9:05 on Friday. I'm running on a 50 sleep score. I'm going to give you everything I got, but I only can do it in 15-minute segments. Please forgive.
It's all good. We're going to give it everything we've got.
Always.
It's what we do. So what was I saying? Oh, the reason you wanted to do this episode is you think getting in rooms where you're just going to dream bigger is really important. Think bigger, dream bigger. And yeah, you might have to, in my opening, I said you might have to get in rooms. I used to say this. You have to get in rooms where you're uncomfortable at the ego level. So in fitness, I used to weight train with people way stronger than me. And I loved it because it motivated me. But ultimately, you have to be in rooms that sometimes make you feel temporarily small so that you get smarter and dream bigger and think bigger. And I think that some of those rooms, that ego check, that, oh, I'm not playing big enough, I'm not thinking big enough, I think that's really important, assuming it's the right room, because obviously that can go the other way. I've been to networking events that were atrociously bad. But as someone who has had a ton of mentors, like, you do need to get around mentors. I did a job, I'll never forget this. Sensata Technologies used to be Texas Instruments, and my boss's boss shouted me out in the main meeting, the opening meeting, and I had just started working there. I did a product manager role, and I was in charge of an $80 million portfolio. And he shouted out in front of the entire company, "Don't worry, we're good. We've got Alan. He's going to grow this thing to over 100 million." And I was like, I'm fucking 23, man. I mean, I'm going to do it. But I remember thinking, all right, game time. And every time I always felt like, I just imagine if I didn't do that, right? You start out in, last piece, I talked about this in a couple episodes ago. This is like critical. You start out in preschool and you win preschool. Then you go to kindergarten and you win kindergarten. And then you go to elementary school and you win elementary school. Then you go to middle school, you win middle school. Then you go to high school, you win high school. Then you go to college, you win college. Then you go to corporate, you win corporate. Then you go into business if you want. And I think that there are levels to life. You're now playing at a different level. right now. This is a different level than you've ever played at. You're 36 years old and you're playing at a 36-year-old level. And now it's time to step the fuck up. And it's going to be great because you're going to come home contemplating how to think bigger, dream bigger, do better. And I know you and I are going to mastermind and all that, but it's good to see you go expand because a lot of times I feel like a pain in the ass always catalyzing that.
You are. No, it's good. It's just different, right? I don't know. It's weird. It's again, I know this is like childish shit at the end of the day, but I went to the airport. I got on a plane by myself. I came and checked into this hotel. I got up at 6:00 and walked to Starbucks this morning. It's just like it feels different. And this is probably the biggest takeaway, and then we'll get out of here. And again, listen to the whole thing because it's in a sound ego, but you'll get the point. How many of you out there know somebody who has closed an $18 million deal personally? How many of you know somebody personally? I didn't either till today. Because nobody in my family did that. I didn't have any mentors like that. Nobody I knew was that successful. That's the beauty of it, is you most likely are going to get around people who are more elevated than you've ever been around before because your surroundings potentially weren't that great. That's all. That's a big piece of it too, is it just shows you what's possible. It shows you what's possible. And I'm not saying any of these other people had different or better upbringings or whatever. A lot of them probably had similar, they definitely had their own stuff they went through. So that's a whole nother piece is, look, they did it. I can't say
believing in yourself more or less? These are always very validating for me because you go into rooms and, you meet someone from YouTube and works at Google and you and I get to talk about different things that I've said years ago and you're like, holy shit. So for me, I'm always very grateful because it feels super validating for some of the stuff that, a lot of the stuff I said in the early days, Kev believed, but was skeptical.
I just didn't. Yeah. It's like, how? I don't know. How do you know? That's a weird thing. And I know that's something you deal with all the time.
Do you know how I know now?
No.
That's my biggest problem.
I won't lie.
I've been around people like that, brother, when I was young.
That's fair. That's fair.
So
I will come back. I think I'll come back more accurate. I think we're going to talk about this. Yeah, we're going to talk about this in tomorrow's episode. So I'll hold off. But yeah, I think I'll come back more accurate, if anything. I feel really good, also really bad because I'm exhausted. I'll have a little bit of a hangover. I have a call on Sunday, which I never do. So that is also the benefit / detriment of this. I have a freaking connection call with somebody on Sunday, which is not ideal, but
yeah.
But that's par for the course. All right, Next Level Nation, if you're trying to level up, you know us. We're all about leveling up a little bit every single day. We have the Next Level Dreamliner. I brought it with me to Toronto. It's international. Okay? International. It's on Amazon. It takes like 5 minutes a day. And it'll help keep you focused on the most important things. I think that's one of the hardest things is if you want to get around next level people, it's really easy to do that one day a week and then forget about it. But if you're journaling about it, you're writing about it, you're reading about it, you're looking at it every day, you're most likely going to accomplish the goal faster.
We're going to talk about this, but I can't not say this because every time we reach a new level, I want to remind everybody, myself included, to stay humble and keep putting in the work because it's not what you did today that made this a thing. It's what you've been doing for the last 9 years that led to this. And I just want to always reinforce that because I think we all fall for this happened overnight and it's what we did and what accumulated and all the improvements and all the learning and all the awareness and all the other 2,000 episodes. So I just want to remind everybody of that. And the Dreamliner is a part of that. And so journaling every day, these fundamentals that are unsexy are what lead to these sexy episodes.
Boom. All right. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And if you are as committed as you say you are to getting to the next level, make sure you tune in tomorrow because we will be here every single freaking day, even if it's 9:15 on a Friday night, to help you get there.
Keep reaching level by level to your full potential. Next Level Nation.